Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm with one of the world's premier combat sports journalists, the one and only Ariel Helwani. Dude, Freakshow fights. I know you're a fan of pro wrestling.
Yes.
I got to ask you, what's your favorite Freakshow fight of all time?
Well, I'll just say the first one that came to mind was Fedor versus Hongman Choi from back in the day. Obviously, there were a lot of them in the Pride days. You don't get as many these days in America. Is Jake Paul versus Tank Davis a Freakshow fight?
I think so.
Kind of, yeah. Right? If it was an MMA and there was that kind of size discrepancy in MMA, I think people would call it that. So let's see how that one goes. That's in a month.
We've seen you go from MMA to boxing to basketball, and pretty much, you've covered a spectrum. Where do you see the relationship between entertainment and sport in this game?
I think they're intertwined. Sports has to be entertainment, and entertainment can be sports. So to me, if it's just like two guys fighting that you have no emotional connection to, that you have no investment in their journey, you haven't been following them, you don't know their backstory, all that stuff, it's just noise. To me, like, the fights are great, but like, why do we get up for big fights? Why do we get excited? Why do we get anxious? Why do we get all these emotions? It's because we have some sort of connection with the fighters. The best fighters are the ones that draw us in. And so that's entertainment, right? And that's why I have always felt that wrestling and MMA and boxing, they're all kind of intertwined. I obviously know that wrestling is scripted, but it's those same emotions, those same feelings. So I'm a big believer in that, and I think that anyone who denies that doesn't really quite understand how all this works.
Is it all about storytelling?
Storytelling, you have to have some sort of why. Why are these two guys fighting? The biggest fights, the biggest feuds, the biggest rivalries have had a why. And the best promotions are the ones that are able to tell good stories, whether it's 24/7 back in the day, or UFC Countdown, or Embedded, All Access on Showtime. Like, you need to tell those stories. And again, if it's just two guys fighting, it might as well be like, there used to be like kickboxing fights in the middle of the night on ESPN2, guys wearing pants, and you're like, who are these people? Like, let's go to something else. And if it's just two guys fighting that you have no connection, you don't even know their name or where they're from or what their reason is or what their backstory is, it's all just wallpaper, in my opinion.
Verbatim, that's how I explain it to people as well for the last 10 years. If I gave you unlimited budget to make like a WWE or a Fight Circus, celebrities, musicians, ex-fighters, any fight in the world, what would you make?
Just one fight? Man.
Anywhere in the world, any budget, any fighters or a personality.
Current day?
Yeah.
I would probably do Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. And I know that's not a crazy fight, but I don't think it's ever going to happen, so it's pie in the sky.
This is the problem sometimes with combat sports. I'm English, right? I wanted to see Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua at the right time, but we didn't get it.
Yeah.
So
we might get it now, but yeah, it's not at the right time.
Not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and lastly, what fight are you most looking forward to for the rest of this year?
2025? There's a few, but I'm very excited to see Tom back. Jack Della Maddalena against Islam Makhachev, I think, is a fascinating fight. Islam's moving up from 155. JDM just beat Bilal. It's at Madison Square Garden, my favorite arena in the world's most famous arena. The stakes are gigantic, and I also think there's so many welterweight fights happening at the same time. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. On the boxing side of things, I'm curious to see how Brian Norman against Devin Haney plays out. And I want to see, Virgil Ortiz is fighting on November 8th. If he wins that fight, I hope that we get the Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz fight in 2026.
Hell yeah. I'm curious, man, because I saw a Rampage when I was out in Thailand fighting Siamese boxing with Bob Sapp, John Nutt, John Wood, and your old interviews with him with some of their MMA history. So as an interviewer, gotta ask you, man, who's the most interesting interview you've ever had?
Man, I don't know if there's one. I don't know if I could pick one. I mean, obviously there's been some incredible characters, Conor McGregor, Dana White, Rampage, Daniel Cormier, John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Ronda Rousey. I mean, these are like iconic people, and I don't know if it honestly would be impossible. And it's not just because I don't want to say. There's just too many good characters that I've been lucky enough to speak to over the years.
You've been very gracious with your time. Can I say, one day you're going to be old, right? When you look back on your career, like I said, basketball, boxing, MMA. I mean, how do you feel about that, what you've done so far?
Well, I always say to people that if it ends tomorrow, I'll be very disappointed because I still feel like there's so much more to do. I'm so grateful. I'm so appreciative. I started this, a long time ago, and I am getting old, it feels like. But I still feel like I'm just starting. I feel like I have a chip on my shoulder. I have a lot to prove. There's a lot more that I want to do. I'm constantly thinking of how to evolve and get better. But if you would have asked, me 25 years ago, what do you want to do? It's exactly this. So I feel very blessed, very appreciative, very grateful, but I'm not content.
That's the attitude. That's how you get it done. Have you heard of a guy called John Nutt? He's one of my best friends. I happen to think he's one of the greatest MCs on planet Earth. Can I get your thoughts on him?
I just met him. He's a great character. He's got the gift of gab. He's got a great energy to him. Very, very impressive what he's built, what he's done. This is my first time at Fight Circus, seeing it live. And I definitely think he's onto something. And, he kind of reminds me of, the great showman, P.T. Barnum, Vince McMahon type of character. Larger than life in many ways. He plays the role very well. And it's great to be here. I'm really enjoying it.
I started promos for Fight Circus in my living room with a green screen in the pandemic out in Asia. And I always said, this is for America. It has to be the American audience. So how big can Fight Circus be now that it's finally landed in America?
I think it could be big. I think they definitely could be big. I think they definitely have a high ceiling. I just it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate, because in Thailand it seems like they could go a little bit harder.
Yes.
And
Letway, for example.
Yes, and so that's an issue. If it's going to be completely scripted here, it will limit their ceiling. So they have to kind of decide who they are, what they can be, what they're allowed to be, etc.
My opinion, just drop a bit of Letway in the middle and keep the fans guessing. Oh, this is a word. Oh, yeah. Whoa, okay, someone just got headbutted.
Yeah, you need that.
Do that. The great Ariel Helwani, thanks so much for talking to me, man.
Pleasure.
Absolute legend.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Always
Thank
a pleasure.
you.
Cheers, dude.
Thank you.
Nice one.